Hey guys, if you like the content, please be sure to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Quick reminder to check out this week's Mortar Pod, our video podcast, and also check out this week's Seems Good Magic card giveaway. Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We won the last Theros block Swiss draft, so we're in an 8-4 right now. Our rare is Dictative Crewfix, which I don't think is that good of a card for limited. So really our pick is, I think, just Warwing Siren, Blues Wingsteed Rider, and just a powerful card. Other pretty good cards in here. I like this Cyclops actually. 5/3 haste, give all your other guys haste is pretty good. Sigiled Skink is very good. I like that. Hoplite, have an unhealthy obsession with this card and always playing it. Grove Dancer, Eagle the Watch, the fonts. Actually, a lot of just good playable cards in here, but my personal favorite's got to be the Warwing Siren, so let's take that. All right, follow-up pick. Well, we get some really good choices in this pack. We can do a second Warwing Siren, but we have Riptide Chimera as well. So issues with the Chimera, where it plays well, where it plays poorly. Plays well if you have Into the Battlefield enchantments, which out of the Theros pack, there's a full cycle of cantrip cheap auras. So I think for that, it's pretty good. And it's a 3-mana 3/4 flyer, so it's at least good on defense. Otherwise, we can take the second Warwing Siren, which I'm probably fine with. I don't have a problem taking a second one. I mean, this one's more combo-ish. My issue with it is if you don't end up with a lot of enchantments, it's going to be kind of a disappointing card, I think. But if you end up with a decent amount, it can be insanely powerful. It can end up being super high value. I think I'm still going to go with the Warwing Siren. I think just there's the Riptide Chimera. Here's the thing. Riptide Chimera is potentially better, but Warwing Siren is, I think, better more consistently, or at least consistently easier to use. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that. What do we got now? Consigned to Dust, which is a card I like a lot. Thassa's Ire. I haven't played with it yet, but I think it's actually pretty good. And Feast of Dreams, which I know is good, albeit a little less. I mean, we'd have to branch into black if we take the Feast of Dreams, which is probably fine. Thassa's Ire, I feel like this card is good, but I haven't played with it or against it yet, which is a bit concerning. I'm pretty comfortable taking Feast of Dreams because it's a nice cheap removal spell. Otherwise, we can also take Lagana Band Trailblazer, just pick up a ton of Heroic early on, which is really going to open us up for more spells that target and buff later. Also Triton Shorestalker, that's unblockable. I think I'm going to go with the removal spell. Let's take the Feast of Dreams. Thassa's Ire is technically removal too, but yeah. Alright, well, can take a Riptide Chimera now. There's also Magma Spray. Blue-red is good. Magma Spray somehow works with Warwing Siren to pump it too, which is kind of funny. Pin to the Earth is, in fact, a good removal spell to have if you're a lot of flyers. Let's take the Riptide Chimera now. I haven't gotten a chance to play it. I've got my 2 Warwing Sirens, so I'm satisfied there. And like I said, this card is really good if you have the enchantment support, which with the double Warwing Siren, I hope we do. Let's take it. Wow, triple Warwing Siren? That's pretty insane. No black cards in here. Some good green cards. This one's particularly good, I think. Font of Fortune is good card draw, as well as being an enchantment for Riptide Chimera, but you want to crack it. That's the thing. Let's take the third Warwing Siren. That's pretty rare that you end up getting that many. All right, let's take a second Feast of Dreams. I'm cool with that. This thing gives double strike, which is kind of cool. I do like this card. And I like the Trailblazer this late too, which is a good sign. But let's take the Feast of Dreams, get some more removal. You can also enchant your opponent's creatures and then use Feast of Dreams, but I admit that's a bit It's a bit too complicated. Let's take the Feast of Dreams. Okay. Now choices. Well, we can take Disciple of Deceit, which is okay. I think it's a little difficult to use, but it's a 2-mana 1/3. It's a late Oreskos Swiftclaw. I think we're just going to take the Nyx Infusion. Works pretty well with the Chimera. So I'm on board with that. Rapidly going into blue-black, which is fine. Can take the Shore Stalker. It's evasive. Second Disciple of Deceit. Still not really feeling it. Swarmborn Giant is of course good, but kind of solidifying myself into blue-black is the best way I can. I don't really like the land pads. Let's take the Shore Stalker. Makes more sense to me. Okay, we can take Font of Fortunes here pretty happily. I have no issues there. Still passing some decent green cards. Not great. The red cards are both certainly playable, and then Oppressive Rays in white. So it does appear that white and red are kind of open, but I think we've done a pretty good job cutting blue and a decent job cutting black. The black cards we have are good support. All right, we can take the Lamia here pretty easily, actually. Could also take the Aspect of Gorgon. Works very well with the Sirens and the Chimera. So I could see that. But this guy's pretty good, too. Making your opponent discard is not to be overlooked. That is actually a pretty good ability. You can really generate some card advantage that way. I do like the Aspect of Gorgon too, but the Thought Render is just a little bit more rare, so I'm going to take that. Wow. Well, we tabled Thassa's Ire. I could take the second Shore Stalker, but I've really been meaning to try Thassa's Ire out. And if you get 8 mana, I mean, tapping 2 guys down in this format, I think that's just insane. So I'm going to take the Ire over the Shore Stalker. We're going to try that card out. All right. We ended up getting an Aspect of Gorgon anyway, which kind of makes me happy since we've got the triple Warwing Siren. And these things would just blow up into a, 3/7 or something. That is huge. All right, 2 off-color cards. Guess we'll take the foil. Take a Diadem and a Plains. All right, so I think we are blue-black. It does appear that white and red were going round and round, but if you look at the 15 cards we got there, they are all very good. I have no issues with the cards we have. All right, open a foil guild. I've actually opened a foil guild before. It's kind of odd. Also Sudden Storm in here, but I am going to go for the guild over it. I do like Sudden Storm, but guild is some pretty hard removal. It doesn't get much harder than that. Exile, ramps, pretty cool. Hopefully maybe Wheel of Crypsis or I don't know about the tabling the Sudden Storm, but that would be cool. Temple's also on color. But I don't think we're going to table that either. Okay, so some real serious picks here for us, some real questions. We've got Chorus of the Tides, which is a flyer, but I think I'd still like to take the Asphyxiate over that. The issue with playing heroic guys is you want to be able to play enough spells to target them. Currently we don't have, I think we actually have 0, straight 0, which is a bit concerning. Theros should have quite a bit, but admittedly we're banking a little bit on picking up some nice auras or instant and sorcery spells out of the next pack at the very least. Drown in Sorrow is cool since it doesn't kill basically any of our creatures. That is actually good, just kills this. But I think we're just going to take the Asphyxiate. Archetype of Imagination is typically good, but currently all of our guys are already evasive, which makes it, I don't know, a little bit less relevant. It's still good. It's still very good. But I'm going to take the Asphyxiate. I'm going to get some more removal. All right, good green cards in here. Could take the Disciple. We can take the Hypnotist. That's really it in terms of some good solid playables for us. I'm typically unimpressed, underwhelmed with the Hypnotist. I'm thinking the Disciple is sort of the same thing. It's expensive. You only get a 2/2. It does fly, however. Kind of surprised. I think it's because we already have so many 3-drops. I'm a little bit less impressed with the Disciple, but it is some good card value. If you can get in, draw off of it. Ah, that's tough. I'm still going to go with the Hypnotist. I think Disciple is good, but Hypnotist is cheap. We're currently really lacking on the cheap creature front. So, I mean, I could take the Harpy, but I think we're actually going to go for the Flitterstep Eidolon. Might seem, redundant since our guys already fly, so the unblockable seems kind of irrelevant, but it's unblockable itself. It bestows, which is good for these guys. It's an enchantment permanent to return with Riptide Chimera later. That's enough upside here for me to want to take it. It's also an enchantment for Thought Render Lamia. It basically fits like everything that our deck's trying to do. It is pricey to bestow, though, I admit. Whelming Wave is definitely interesting. Shrike Harpy's definitely playable. And Grizzly Transformation's actually pretty good, too. But same sort of thing where it's like it's redundant with the Warwing Sirens since they already fly. But we're going to take the Bestow guy pretty happily. All right, Retraction Helix, fantastic. I'm going to take that over the Eternity Snare, even though I like that card. Helix, just too good with what we've got. Nyxborn Eidolon's good too, but we're definitely taking Retraction Helix. Bounce is just very strong in this format. I love Retraction Helix. Yeah, not much else to say. I love Retraction Helix. Great card. Okay, good green cards here, definitely. There's a Marshmist Titan, which currently is not that good for us. Could take the Grizzly Transformation. Could also take the second Deepwater Hypnotist, but this guy is still underwhelming. I think Grizzly Transformation is too in this deck. I'm already doing the Eidolon. Let's take the Hypnotist. Just get another bear just in case I need it. We're pretty deep blue. I could actually see playing Thassa's Rebuff, but we're going to do the Necrobite instead since it triggers Heroic and it's pretty good on like a Hypnotist or something like that. So we'll take the Necrobite. Okay, a lot of white in here. We're going to take Weight of the Underworld and play it, likely. It's a removal spell. I've had it do positive things for me before. Plus, it also works well with our Constellation. And not typically that you're going to bounce it with Chimera, but it's a possibility. Okay, so we can take Crypsis or Grizzly Transformation. I think we want Crypsis because you get to untap it, so it's an actual combat trick, which makes it work well with both the Hypnotist, the Warwing Siren. Would have worked well with Sphinx's Disciple if we gotten that. But let's take the Crypsis. I never get a chance to play that spell either, so kind of intrigued by it. All right, let's take Eye Gouge. It's a good sideboard card, and there are actual playable Cyclops in this format that I'd like to be able to kill for 1 mana. Yeah, nothing else to really say. We did table the Sphinx's Disciple, so I can easily take it now. It's better than the Mogus or the Claim. Claim of Erebus being decent in this deck since we've got Heroic, Bounce stuff, and Constellation. But let's take the Disciple since we're currently rocking 9 creatures, and I'd like to up that count just a bit. I guess we can take Marshmist Titan, but not likely to play it. We could take the Claim here or a second Eye Gouge. I really don't see myself playing Claim of Erebus. It's possible. I just don't think it's likely. I'm going to take it anyway. I just don't see myself. I also don't see myself sideboarding into 2 Eye Gouges. I think that's a little bit too much. All right, I'll take a second Titan. Last card, Faragax Giant. Someone's definitely trying to tell us to be in red, but that ship has sailed, my friends. Let's cut things that we'd like to probably not main deck. So I guess the Titans are probably on the outs. Definitely taking Insatiable Harpy here. Love that card. Flies. It's very good. Rare is Anthusa, who is definitely very strong, but that's just not going to happen. I think our next cut is probably the Weight of the Underworld. It's just 1 more mana than Nyx Infusion and is pretty close to the same thing. I'd rather just pay the 3 mana. Alright, let's take Harpy pretty happily here. Do love that card. Okay, good options here. We've got the Sealock Monster, which is actually a finisher I've come to like and respect quite a bit. There's also Pharika's Cure, which is more removal, which I wouldn't mind. Read the Bones. Let's just take the Sealock Monster. We seem to be having a hard time finding good ways to activate our Heroic. So if that's not going to work out, then let's at least get a nice big old fatty to finish the game with. There's also Read the Bones, like I said. That card is good. I like it. But I think we're just going to go Sealock Monster, cut Way to the Underworld, start going down that path. Alright, Shipwreck Singer is a fantastic card. There's also Horizon Scholar and Tormented Hero, both of which are good. But Shipwreck Singer can just be a real game changer if they don't have removal for it against the right deck. You can just kill X1s all day. Make your opponent's creatures attack into your big fatty defenders. I just like it. What am I going to cut for it, though? This may not be a Shorestalker deck. Or I probably cut a Hypnotist before I cut the Shorestalker, maybe. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But let's pick up the Shipwreck Singer, because I definitely want to play that. Could have tabled it, I guess, but I didn't want to bank on that. Alright, take a sip of Hemlock here. I don't have problems with removal, I'll tell you that much. So we'll take that. And not much else in this pack. Okay, wow. Very strong red cards being passed, but that's okay. Baleful Eidolon is actually just fantastic for our deck. It'll buy us time to the late game. It also bestows. Very, very good to have. Red is definitely an open color, but it's no big deal. We are still getting a pretty good deck here, I would say. Really not much for us here. I guess we'll take the Temple of Abandon. Unfortunately, not on color with either of the things we're doing, but still a temple. Alright. Alright, well, good choices here. We could take another Sealock Monster, which is a second finisher. We also have Return Phalanx, which is pretty awesome. Just awesome all-around card, since it blocks well and attacks well. I guess I am looking for more finishers, because we appear to be a deck that's not going to have a lot of ways to turn on Heroic. We've got a decent amount. It's just not as much as I would have hoped for. I think we're just going to take the Sealock Monster, slam him since he's efficiently costed and has an ability that makes him huge. I think we're just going to get the finisher over the Return Phalanx, which I do think is a fantastic card, but like I said, we're just a bit short on solid finishers, so I'd like to pick up as many as I can. Well, there's a second Shipwreck Singer. There's also a Boon of Erebus, which is just, both of which are just going to be fantastic in here. I think we're going to go with the Shipwreck Singer number 2. It's hard to deny it. It does fly, can get bigger. I do like Boon of Erebus a lot. I wish I could take it here, but just the Shipwreck Singer can be a real tough card for some decks to deal with. I've had some major issues playing against Shipwreck Singer before. I'm going to take the Blood Toll Harpy pretty clearly over the Hippocamp. Just get more evasion. The more evasion, the better. Alright, we'll take Artisan Sorrow, just hating it. We can take the March of the Returned. I guess we have a decent amount of creatures now. Maybe I'd rather hate the Cerberus or the Deathbellow Raider. I'm not going to play March of the Returned. I'm not going to play any of these cards. Maybe we just take the 2-drop away. The Cerberus is good too, but it's a little bit slower, so I feel like we can deal with it a bit easier. Got that. Celebrant, sure. Okay. Alright. So, like I said, red was definitely open. Someone got pretty solid red pool, but I'm satisfied with our pool. I'm definitely satisfied with our pool. We're going to have to make some serious cutting decisions, but overall I'm very happy with what we got. I think definitely have enough playables where I have no issues with this deck. It's really going to be, we just have to measure what we want our removal versus creatures to be. Definitely have to prioritize Heroic highly since we have triple Warwing Siren. But I guess they're 1/3 flyers, which still isn't bad. It's also Disciple, but I don't think we're going to play him. I'd rather just do the Sealock monsters. All right, let's separate spells from creatures and then start really cracking down on what's essential and what's not. So I don't think that Sphinx's Disciple is essential. Brings us to 28. I do think this is a 17 land deck since we don't have a ton of color intensity, but enough where I want to play 17 lands. I don't think that we're an early creature deck as much. So the Shorestalker's looking less good. I think we don't have enough buff spells to really capitalize on him, so I don't think we need him. We don't have to play a ton of creatures because we have a lot of good removal. So I can cut back on the Hypnotist. Like, I would just much rather play this Shipwreck Singers over the Hypnotist. I'm pretty positive of that. We are starting to get down there already, though. Crypsis versus Necrobite is kind of a tough call. This one untaps, so it's a surprise factor, but it doesn't protect from removal. This protects from removal, but they have to be untapped, and it's more expensive. So I'm having a little bit more difficult time knowing which one of those is better or worse than the other. I might just want to play them over the Nyx Infusion, but the Nyx Infusion at the same time is a nice bounce effect for the Riptide Chimera. But the thing is, most of the time that you play Nyx Infusion, you're going to be doing it on a guy that will die from it, which tells me you're going to lose it. Thassa's Ire is actually fantastic with Riptide Chimera. That's just a 1 mana thing you have to bounce every turn. That's nothing. That's easy. This is 26 with 14 creatures. Let's cut the second Hypnotist. I think I'm just going to get out of that plan. I'd like to keep my enchantments relatively high, but at the same time, Nyx Infusion's looking... What's our removal? We've got Helix, Thassa's Ire, kind of, Double Feast of Dreams, Crypsis Necrobite, kind of, Aspect of Gorgon, kind of. Alright, let's cut the Nyx Infusion. We're at 13 creatures currently. That is a low creature count, admittedly. But let me count the ways to target Warwing Sirens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. I don't want to lower that anymore. I think 6, I've gotta stay with 6. Because I want a nice 2-to-1 ratio, so my heroic guys have a good chance of at least getting hit once with something. So let's cut something non-essential that doesn't target. I guess we'll cut the Font of Fortunes. I'm not thrilled about that since it's another cheap enchantment to bounce with Chimera, but let me count how many enchantments we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3 itself though, so I don't want to count itself. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is a bit concerning. I guess he is, at the very least, he's a 3 mana, 3/4 flying blocker that you have to bounce every turn, but still, he can dissuade some attacks, make a trade possibly. I guess I can get comfortable enough playing that. Is Crypsis good enough? That's the question. You get to untap your dude. Works very well with Baleful Eidolon. Yeah, I think I'm just going to run it like this. I don't want to lower my creature count anymore. I like all my spells, my non-creature spells, that is. Let's look at our colors. More black than blue. Do they suggest that? Yep, they say 9/8. I can agree with that. Okay, This deck's pretty good. We got triple Whirlwind Siren. We didn't get to capitalize. We didn't get the pool that capitalizes on that as much as I'd like, but uh, good removal. Look at that. Helix, Ire, double Feast of Dreams. If you're just talking hard removal, Asphyxiate. This is just hard removal. Guild, Sip. A lot of removal. Just a ton. Double Sealock Monster and Thoughtrender Lamia as very solid finishers. Technically, Chimera is a pretty decent finisher too. In retrospect, maybe I should have taken the first Riptide Chimera as well, but I guess 2 Riptide Chimeras in here probably would have been just too much. Overall, yeah, this deck's pretty good. I think it could succeed, definitely. All right, we shall see you round 1.